Hi guys, it's Carissa, and I'm hoping that I can make this sort of quick, but I know it's going to be long because it's been so long since I've done a Keto Bites video, and I really wanted to share with you what I've been doing lately since I sort of rededicated myself. Please don't take this as being these are the only things I eat. This is just the stuff that came to the top of my mind as being sort of in a pretty regular rotation. I try really hard to have fresh whole food as often as possible, and I don't really eat a lot of meat, but I will have bacon, and I have a lot of salads. And one possibly surprising item here, at least for me. So I collected everything. I figured while I had my coffee for the morning, lately I've been having 2 cups of coffee a day, which is down. A few months ago I was having like 3 or 4, but it was because I wasn't eating well and I felt exhausted because of carb slumps and sugar crashes. So I normally do I'll just have a sip while my dog drinks in the background. It makes a lot of noise. I normally have a cup of coffee, and I'll either do it hot or cold. And I started measuring my cream again. I used to just eyeball it, and I know that was a boo-boo. Every time I did it, I cringed a little, like, you should be measuring this. So I measure my heavy cream now in a tablespoon. I do 1 tablespoon per glass, and then usually like a splash of the Atkins vanilla protein shake if I feel like I need a little bit more flavor. Some mornings I feel like I do. I don't know why. And I'll also occasionally blend in a cacao wafer or 2. And this is just raw cocoa butter. And I blend it while the coffee is still hot with one of these just little $8 blenders that I got on, I think it's a milk frother technically. I think I got it on Amazon. I'll try and link it below if I remember. And then I'll add my cream, and sometimes I will add ice cubes. And first I'll add a few ice cubes that I made with leftover coffee because it keeps it from getting watered down, and then I'll add some regular ones just to keep it cold. Then for the rest of the day, and by day I mean until I get hungry, but a lot of days it's till like, I guess between like 2 and 6 depending on the day. It's usually closer to like 4, but it's not always the same. I just swap back liquids all day. That doesn't sound good. I swap between different liquids. So I'll usually start with coffee, or I'll start with a liter of water. Some mornings I wake up super thirsty. Other mornings I wake up feeling like I'll gag if I try to drink water. So I'll have like a liter of water and then my coffee, or I'll have my coffee and then my liter of water. Then I will do my electrolyte drink, which this is the Aqua Zero by Wegmans. I know not everyone has Wegmans, and I feel bad for you, but there is a vitamin water version of this. I personally don't think it tastes as good, and it has carbs in it. This does not. But this has 870 milligrams of potassium. No carbs, no sugar. And I'll mix this with a tablespoon or more. Some days I just want more, and I think that's weird, but of apple cider vinegar. So I've already gone through 1 container. I'm on my 2nd one now. I have heard that this does wonders for a bunch of different ailments, and especially inflammation, but I've also heard that that could all be complete horse feathers. So I don't care. I don't mind, because it's kind of like a cheap do-it-yourself kombucha to me. I'll do a couple of tablespoons or less, and what I usually do is I pour it in this big plastic mason jar. I don't even use the lid anymore. I just stick a straw in it. I put this in, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, or more if I want, and then another liquid of my choice to like really water it down. Basically I fill it to the top, and then I drink that. A lot of the time I like to do a flavored seltzer water. I love blueberry, and the vanilla go really well with that. I also have lately been doing this, but this is much more expensive. I'll just mix these 2 together, and I don't need to add the apple cider vinegar. This is by the same company, and this is the ginger spice drink. And all that's in it is distilled water, the apple cider vinegar, organic ginger, and stevia extract. There's no carbs, no fat, no calories, no protein. So I'll do this, there's other flavors, but they have carbs, and that's totally fine, but I just prefer, because this version doesn't either, so this is just another vehicle to get it in my body. I'll just mix these two, drink it with a straw, and then sometimes when I feel like I want a treat, because I feel guilty about it, and I try not to have it every day, like once a week usually, I will mix the vinegar with this Fanta Zero and the Aqua Zero, and that tastes like a delicious, just orange soda. That's like all you taste when you do that. I've been feeling really good though since doing that. So if it helps in some very small way, but be careful with apple cider vinegar because it will just completely destroy the enamel on your teeth. So don't ever drink it straight. Always have a straw and always dilute it. I dilute it with a lot, so I feel okay about that. Then if I do get hungry while I'm working, I don't normally have time to stop and make something. And that's something I've learned about myself is I was leaning too much on mozzarella cheese sticks or like little cheddar cheese squares. I love cheddar cheese lately. I used to hate it, but I feel like my palate has changed and I really appreciate a good like white cheddar. But I was relying too much on ready to eat foods because of my job, because I'm on a time crunch to make sure that my, not only are the items I promise to customers ready when I say they'll be, but they're ready by the time I get a pickup from the post office every day. So I have to try and kind of get all of my work done in that time frame, or I have to drive it all to the post office and lug it in, and they like look at me like they hate me. So I jumped back on the Quest bar wagon, and I know I have talked a lot of smack about Quest bars, and I've been up and down, and I may eventually again someday say that I can't eat them again. But I've noticed that one particular flavor, not only do I love it the most and can't get sick of it, but I feel like I don't have any negative effects from it the way I did with other flavors. So I don't know if there's something in the sweet, kind of chocolatey bars that cause a reaction from me, but as soon as I eat one of those, I immediately feel like I need to eat another one. Like nothing will do. I have to immediately eat another one. And I really don't want to eat 2 Quest bars right in a row. So I have to kind of guzzle some water and try and wait until that subsides. But then it sends me on this weird binge eat spike all day where all I want to do is eat just mindlessly. I'm not even hungry, just feel like eating. And I narrowed it down to being the Quest bars that were the culprit. I don't have that reaction with this particular flavor. So I feel like it's a good replacement. I don't have it every day. And I've been losing weight. So I feel like I'm okay with this right now, but I'm not going to, this isn't a full endorsement on my part because I've had a bad history with Quest bars. But this is the apple pie flavor. I don't know if this is seasonal, but one of my Wegmans stores has them and one of them does not. So I don't know if they're just left over from the holiday. They're always nice and soft. They have little chunks of dehydrated apple in them, which is just like the best part to me. They're a little higher in carbs, in net carbs, than the other flavors. They're 7 grams of net carbs. And I was hesitant about that at first, but honestly, I have felt like these have been great for me. So if I can't leave my desk, I will have one of those, or my new thing is peanut butter on a spoon, which some of you are probably like, Carissa, everybody knows about peanut butter on a spoon. People who don't even do keto know about peanut butter on a spoon. But for some reason, it always grossed me out. Oh, Bows wants to come up here now too. We're just a cozy family, you guys. So what I've been doing is keeping a jar of peanut butter next to my desk. And listen, I know natural peanut butter is best, and I really would prefer to have a brand that's just peanuts, but that's actually really hard to find where I live. And when I do find it, it's the kind that like goes bad really fast because there's no other ingredients in it. And this is always around because the other kind I also can't get always. I don't know why. This kind is always around, and it's the same price and just as good as the cheap stuff. I was talking to my friend Jackie about our peanut butter consumption, and she made a really good point, which I think is kind of always been my philosophy on a lot of things. I'll sacrifice a few extra carbs for something that I would just prefer to have, so that I don't feel like I'm punishing myself or having something I don't enjoy. So those natural peanut butters with a thick oil layer at the top, listen, I know all the tricks. I did it for years. Store the jar upside down, get one of the jars with a little whirly pump. No, ain't nobody got time for that. And I don't even like it as much anyway. So what I have been having, this is actually not the one that's at my desk. I prefer creamy peanut butter, and this is crunchy. But again, this is Wegmans. It happens to be organic, but it doesn't have an oily layer at the top. It's delicious. I feel like it truly has a better flavor than other brands. Like, it has similar stats to these little Skippy tubs, these individually measured ones. And this stuff tastes like old chapstick to me compared to this. This tastes like delicious peanuts. So net carbs on this is 4 grams for 2 tablespoons. It might actually be less for the creamy one slightly, but I might be making that up. And I'll have a spoonful of that or 2 at my desk real quick and then move on. And it's great because it's filling, it tastes good. It kind of goes with having my beverages at my desk. It doesn't feel like it's a huge disruption flavor-wise, because I know that sometimes that's an issue too. I'm weird. Another thing I've added recently, which I just feel really good about, I don't notice any major differences in my life quite yet from it, but it was a suggestion from one of my viewers. I believe her name is Emma. She sent me a really sweet email, and she suggested that I add flax oil into my diet. Now, flax oil is something that in my vegan days I had daily. I would put it in smoothies, I would put it on salads, I would have this all the time. It just didn't occur to me to start having it again. But the benefits of adding flax oil into your diet, I think, there's just a million of them, especially when you have PCOS. So, and it's a great healthy fat, omega-3s, the whole deal. It tastes like butts. It's gross. So I can't mix it into a fruit smoothie, obviously, and I don't really like it on my salads, although that is a great option. I actually prefer mayonnaise and oil on my salads, which sounds gross. And my sister and I got judged at a sub shop for that. For the first time, we had our first face-to-face keto hate because the menu online said you can make any sub a salad. So we went in to do just that, and the staff, they were really nice and accommodating until we started asking for what would be considered sub toppings on the salads, and they were like laughing in our faces when I said I wanted mayonnaise for my dressing. Whatever. So, but anyway, what I've been doing is just doing shots of this, which alone, it can be Gagsville. But what I've decided to do is use this tablespoon that has this handy, narrow shape to it. And before I pour this in, I do a quick little splash of this guy. This is something that I bought a long time ago for a recipe and didn't like it for the recipe I bought it for, but it works great for this. This is an agave sweetener, and it is organic, and it's only 5 calories per serving, which is a teaspoon. It's a very small serving. It says that there is 1 gram of carb in a teaspoon, and I do the littlest splash. I would be surprised if it's even half a teaspoon, but I feel like it's necessary because this stuff, I don't know, especially because if I have it in the morning, it's just not my favorite thing to put in my mouth. But I'll put the little splash of agave in the bottom of the tablespoon. I'll fill it up the rest of the way with this, and then I stick this sucker as far back in my throat as I can and tip it back so it does not touch my tongue. And I just like take a shot of my flax oil. I know that probably sounds crazy, but that's what I do. Mike's been doing it too lately. He's not as big a fan of it, but. And lastly, one of the biggest changes I made was to have a smaller dinner and try and really pinpoint something that would be satisfying and enjoyable, but super light. I like going to bed on not an empty stomach, but not a full stomach. And I would prefer to just drink a bunch of water and really kind of focus on how I feel. Because I think at the end of the day, especially if it's been busy and stressful, which work has been for me, I can tend to feel like, okay, now is the time to relax and just mindlessly eat. And I think that will always be a problem in my life if I'm not careful about it. So I try to really pay attention to my body. I'll have like a small handful, like 5 or 6 pistachios or cashews, either while I'm preparing my meal or before I eat it. And then I'll have like 5 or 6 strips of bacon. And that's my meal with a bunch of water. I don't like to make too much of a fuss and have too large a meal because I find that for some reason that does affect me on the scale, and I don't even really need or want the excess food or the big meal at the end of the day. It's just a comfort thing for me. And I've talked about that before. It just runs in my family. So I try to associate other things with a feeling of comfort and relaxation. And that's just being around my husband. Just seeing his face at the end of the day automatic relaxes me. And I really try to take that in and make note of that. And that takes away a lot of my need to stress eat. Another thing that I'll do is I'll take an avocado. Yes, me, an avocado. And I will just dice it up and put salt on it and eat it with a fork. And I love it. I wish there was a way to store them without being completely repulsed by the sight of them for the next time. I feel like I've never been able to master that. A whole avocado in one sitting is too much. I mean, we can give them to our tortoises or our chickens, they'll eat it, but sometimes it just feels like a waste to not use the whole thing if I would gladly just eat it by itself as is. But I did buy one in hopes I was gonna try and make like a keto shamrock shake with an avocado and some mint extract and some cream, maybe a little sweetener. But I can't find my mint extract, and Mike was like, that sounds gross. But that's fine. I don't need to dress these things up anymore. I will eat them just as is. It sucks to get a soapy or a real stringy one every now and then, and they're so expensive for them being like just little, it's like gambling. It's like buying a scratch-off ticket. But that's pretty much everything. This is already super long, and I'm sorry about that, but at least now maybe I can make these videos more regularly without having to mention all of these things. If you have questions about any of it, because I was going kind of fast and I may have not explained something properly, I most likely didn't, or I skipped over some information. If you need it, ask me a question in the comments and I will answer it for you. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm really, really happy that ketogenic lifestyle is catching on. It's in the news. I feel like I'm hearing about it more and more every day. And it's evident that there are other people in my area who are really living the ketogenic lifestyle, because a lot of this stuff ends up being sold out in our stores because there must be a high demand for it. I'm finding Quest products popping up at like 7-Elevens and in a lot of grocery chains, and just things like that make me really happy, because I feel like if this becomes a sustainable way of living for most people, it will be easier to do in the long run, and you won't get made fun of at a restaurant and looked at like, okay, fatty, here's your mayonnaise, because people won't understand the benefits of it. If there's anything else you'd like me to do or talk about, let me know. I feel like doing this holds me accountable and it provides information to people who need it. So it's a win-win all around. There's no reason why I shouldn't stay on top of these kind of videos. So thank you for asking about them. Thank you for asking for them. Thank you so much for being so supportive and loving. Thank you to all the people who sent me messages about my video on my TTC channel. You guys are all amazing, and I just wish I could hug you all every single day. So thank you so much. There's so much of this that I wouldn't be able to do without your support. I really, really mean it. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.